Let the galaxy burn.
Hi guys, Skypoint here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the Thousand Nerfs of the Thousand Suns. Alright, well, the Thousand Suns when they came out were ridiculously overpowered. I played them a lot, and even I have to say that playing as a Thousand Suns player, they were really incredibly powerful. And Everguild went and they did a round of nerfing, sort of dialing down the abilities of some combos in particular, like Psychic Lash and the Changers and the Osiran Dreadnought, and they tried balancing a little bit, but it wasn't enough, and a lot of players were still complaining, because basically the Thousand Suns had one pretty simple playstyle which would be guaranteed to win. You focused on building up a big pool of psychic energy, and you use that to crush your enemy. And the problem with that is there were very, very few ways you could possibly counter that. If you were facing the Thousand Suns, and if they were building up a large pool of psychic energy, which they could do pretty quickly, you knew you were going to lose, and the game was just not fun. So Everguild have basically gone and changed the Thousand Suns. I'm going to talk about the nerfs in more detail in a moment, but the general concept they were going for was to make it harder to build up psychic energy, and then make that psychic energy slightly less effective when it's actually applied. Actually quite a bit less effective when it's applied. The main change that's done is before the nerf, the Thousand Suns were basically mostly about psychic energy, and their units existed predominantly to support that by either generating psychic energy or causing you to focus on taking out the units or protecting your Warlord, so that you actually had the time to apply your psychic energy, like get the right cards in hand and play them. And now, after these changes, the Thousand Suns can still win. I mean, I've been making a little deck list over here and playing with it, and you can see I've got a pretty long string of victories as Magnus the Red on the ladder. So, what does that really mean? The Thousand Suns have just changed. They're no longer predominantly about psychic energy with units there to support. Now, as the Thousand Suns, you have to play a unit-focused deck, and your psychic energy supports your units to win the game. Alright, I'm going to go through my deck in a moment, but let's go and talk through the nerfs in more detail. First up, Big Red, or Magnus the Red. So, Magnus the Red, when he first came out, he used to have this power where you'd spend 2 psychic energy and you deal either 1 or 2 damage to an enemy, or you could put a shield on a friendly troop or even yourself. In the first round of nerfing, they took away his ability to shield himself, but shielding is still an incredibly powerful ability. For example, dropping Goldstone's Hunters and shielding them allows them to survive a turn even after hitting a strong target. And there were very few abilities in the game which allowed you to give a shield to a unit before, and so it wasn't, I don't think Everguild really appreciated just how powerful and game dominating that could be, and I think they quite rightly took that away from Magnus. They did give him a slight buff in return. Now his energy ability, instead of dealing 1 to 2 damage, it deals 1 to 3 damage. So he can potentially, his damage output has increased slightly, but he can no longer shield his units, and I think that's healthier for the game. Alright. The next buff, it's not, the next buff actually it affects Phosis Takar predominantly, I think. Phosis Takar had this ability, which was actually pretty neat, where for 2 energy you put a Psychic Barrier in play, and that let you do all manner of stuff. The problem is Psychic Barriers have now been nerfed, and if we just scroll down and take a look at that, Psychic Barriers now deal 1 damage to your Warlord at the start of each turn as they die. That is a little bit of a buff for Magnus, actually. I'll talk about that in a second. For Phosis Takar, it's a massive nerf, because it means by using his ability, he's damaging himself, which is terrible. Like, there's very, very few situations where it's a significant help anymore, and with him already being low initiative, he rapidly falls to not only being the worst Thousand Suns Warlord by a long margin, he's probably now the worst Warlord in the game. So he's been absolutely destroyed by the nerf. Ahriman's a bit neutral. Magnus the Red, actually, I consider the change to Psychic Barriers to be a little bit of a buff for him because of his Whisper. Like, oops, let's go take a look at his Whisper. Magnus needs to get damaged 15 times in order to trigger his Whisper. So, one of the things you normally want to do with Magnus is find opportunities to get hit for only 1 damage, because that's the safest way to be triggering your Whisper. Now, Meketra squad, who we'll talk about in a moment, but they actually generate 2 Psychic Barriers when you put them in play, and those 2 Psychic Barriers can now pretty reliably ping Magnus for just 2 damage as they die, which helps to trigger that. So if you've got 2 Meketra Cabals in your deck, that's 4 out of the 15 hits Magnus needs to take in order to trigger his Reckoning. So it's a very slight buff for Magnus. Alright, let's keep going through. A couple more nerfs to look at. First up, Prahatpi Recon. These guys used to have 2 attack, now they have 3 health, and their energy ability is the same effect, but its cost is increased. They're kind of useless now. Because psychic energy in general is become harder to get, you usually don't want to waste 2 energy just to draw a card. And then without that handy ability, with them only having 1 attack, they kind of suck. And if you really want to have one of the cheap Thousand Sun troops, Siamen squad is just way better. They're totally unchanged, and I'd rather have them. The only thing Prahatpi squad has is it's a 3 health unit which generates psychic energy, so they're more likely to survive a turn than Siamen squad is. But still, I just think that they're preferable to have. Siamen is preferable to have. Okay, next up, Meketra Cabal. These guys, they have a little bit of a nerf or a buff depending on which Warlord you are, because their 2 Psychic Barriers will now damage your Warlord. They have had a major nerf in that before, one big reason you would put them in play was they were a cheap unit which had Psyker 2, so they could help you to build up your psychic energy. Well, now they only have Psyker 1, but to compensate for that, they do have 3 attacks. So I still like these guys. So I use them differently after the nerf. I no longer tend to really try to protect them. I'm interested in them for the minor damage they do to Magnus, and then followed up by generating 1 point of psychic energy before they attack and die. Okay, next up was the Rhino. This one is not a big change. Its ability cost has increased by +1. As I said, Everguild are trying to stop you from building up a giant pool of psychic energy, and increasing ability cost is one way they're doing that. So these guys, I mean, their role has not really changed much from the nerf. Issachar Or has taken a nerf. He's a legendary guy. He's no longer Psyker 2, he's just Psyker 1. I think that's fine. As I said, they're trying to stop you building up big reams of big batteries of psychic energy, and I think this is a good move towards that. In that same vein, Ahriman's Cabal has had the same nerf applied. They're no longer Psyker 2, they're only Psyker 1. I would have preferred them staying as Psyker 2 just because it felt like it fitted better with the theme, but I mean, yeah, they're still fine. The one thing about it, though, is now that psychic energy is harder to build up, it's trickier to repeatedly use reflections. So they're quite a bit weaker from that point of view, and I think unless you really want them for the psychic energy, there might be better ways to spend 6 energy in your deck. Maybe one of the neutral cards could do that role better. Scarab Occult. These guys have had a huge nerf, and I've actually decided to stop using them. First of all, they are no longer Psyker 2, they're Psyker 1 only, so they make it much harder to generate psychic energy than before. But one of the ways Scarab Occult used to get used, and it was also one of those things which made the game unfun. As part of the Thousand Suns generating a huge pool of psychic energy, they would put Scarab Occult on the board and then dump all that psychic energy into Scarab Occult and use that to score one big finishing blow. Now that's much harder to do. You can still do it, but that finishing blow is going to be significantly softer because the amount of energy they use for their ability has increased by 50%, or 1 point. So before, if you had a pool of 20 psychic energy, your Scarab Occult would get plus 10 attack, so it would be hitting the enemy for 15 damage. Now a pool of 20 psychic energy is just going to be plus 6 attack instead. So they'll hit your enemy for 11 damage instead of 15 damage. It's still a lot, but it's less overwhelming than before. And with all the other increased costs or harder ways of generating psychic energy, it's way harder to get up to 20 energy than before as well. So it's a big nerf, but I think overall it's probably worth it. I would have liked to see Scarab Occult's cost come down as a result of that, like maybe bring them to 7 energy or maybe even 6. Probably 7 would have been better. Because, yeah, 7 energy with Frontline and Psyker 1 is, I think, fair. 8 energy for Frontline and Psyker 1 is a little bit too expensive. And the final one was Osiren Dreadnought, which has been hit with a double nerf. First of all, its ability of doing 1 to 2 damage to a random enemy has been cut down to 1 damage only, but it's also lost the Psyker ability, so the Osiren Dreadnought no longer generates any psychic energy for you. Which, again, that I think either nerf on its own could have been enough. Probably cutting down from 1 to 2 to 1 damage would have been better. I think making it lose Psyker 1 was a little bit too much, and honestly that's made Osiren Dreadnought fall out of favor for me. Because you can no longer rely on the Psychic Lash combo, with Psychic Energy being much harder to generate. And then for 8 energy, most of the time, this is just a 7-8 body, and there's better things for 8 energy than this. So that's all of the units, and we had a couple of tactics which were nerfed as well. So the first of those is going to be Prospering Lore. This was a fantastic card before. It would generate a bunch of psychic energy, and then it used to draw a card for you. Now they got rid of the draw a card, which makes this less great by a long margin. It might still be worth including if you really want to have a way of generating a bit of bonus energy to trigger a particular power, but it's a very hard hit on this card. The Book of Magnus, this is probably a pretty fair one. Like, its cost increased from 4 to 5, and I think that's fine because it's basically draw 3 cards for 4 energy was fantastic value. Draw 3 cards for 5 energy is pretty good value still. So I think, yeah, this is a decent-ish nerf. Witchfire. I still like the Witchfire card. Where's it gone over here? It used to be 3 to 5 damage. Now it's 2 to 5 damage. I think that's fair. I mean, maybe I would have been happier if it was left the way it was. But again, Everguild are trying to make you rely less on psychic powers and just have them supplement your units more. So yeah, I can see why they did it. I lean a little bit to thinking they nerfed it too much, but yeah, I think this is fine too. Alright, and the last one was Witchfire's big brother, Astral Warfare. Where is it gone? Which has had the same nerf. It used to be 3 to 5 damage, now it's 2 to 5. And again, I generally think that's kinda okay. Alright, so with that, as I said, the Thousand Suns have now changed. You can no longer rely, you have to rely more on troops and less on psychic powers, but I think that's made them more fun to play. Another consequence that's had is before, because you really wanted to generate as much psychic energy as possible, and because neutral troops did not generate psychic energy, very few neutral cards used to make it into a Thousand Suns deck. And now, with you relying more on your troops and supplementing a little bit with psychic energy, like I think really you're probably not playing more than about 2 to 4 psychic energy cards in the whole game now, because of how hard the energy is to generate. You're going to start seeing a lot more neutral cards in Thousand Suns decks. Okay, so speaking of the decks, as I said, I've been winning a lot with Ahriman. I'm going to run you through my deck and the concept behind, not Ahriman, sorry, with Magnus. I'm going to run you through my deck and talk you through what strategy it's really focused on and how the cards support that. The other thing as well is I've started getting a couple of the new cards in from the Prospero crates into my deck, and so this one uses that, and the videos I'm going to show you after of a couple of my wins, they do involve the new cards, but I'll also talk a bit about what to do if you don't have those. Alright, so this is my Magnus Ascended, so this is after the nerf, deck. So the general concept over here is we're going to rely mostly on troops. We're going to have some psychic powers to back them up. So the 5 psychic power cards which I've included are 2 Astral Warfares, 2 Witchfires, and an Ashen Blow. So these Astral Warfares are basically my mass board clearing or anti-stealth cards. The Ashen Blow is there to take out really tough targets at key moments, and Witchfire is sort of my hard hitter. For the first time in a Thousand Suns deck, I don't have Psychic Lash in here anymore. Alright, so that's the first concept behind this deck. The second concept in the deck is going to be healing. I find that it's going to be healing / triggering Magnus's Whisper of Chaos. So what we do for that one is we've got 5 healing cards in here. We've got Extra Tres, we've got both the Pi Alpha 52s, we also have Chi Mu 25. So we've got 2 of those, and so we have 5 healing cards in total. To help inflict damage on Magnus, which hopefully the healers will pick up, we also have both the Meketra K-Balls. And so the idea is I'm going to try to take a bunch of damage to help trigger my Reckoning, and to keep me going, my healing cards will keep me alive. Alright, I can trigger my Whisper, not my Reckoning. Okay, so that's sort of the psychic powers, the healing, and the sort of damaging myself. Alright, and then to go through the remainder of what we have over here, I'm going to go from the cheapest to most expensive. Abandoned Supplies is there to help work through my deck and draw and discount cards. I just find this really useful, and I try to include Abandoned Supplies wherever I can. Usually it's okay to fall behind in 1 or 2 early turns if it allows you to play a powerful card earlier in the game than your opponent. As I said, Warp Retreat is there to start pulling some of those healers back into my hand so I can play them again. I talked about Meketra, Extra Tres, and Pi Alpha. Anktel, well, this is just, even after its minor nerf, it's just too good a card to pass up. You've got to include this one in every single Thousand Suns deck, so I've got both copies of those. I talked about Witchfire already. The Beast of Fyra. Ever since this one was in the store a couple days ago, I mean, this is a great card for many, many decks. Yes, it has a maintenance cost, but most of the time, either it's going to soak up a ton of enemy attention and die before your turn begins, which is worth it for 4 energy, and then you don't pay the maintenance, or if it survives, it's coming in in turn 4. Usually you're going to have a card you can play for the remaining energy in the next turn and benefit still from this card. So I don't view Beast of Fyra's maintenance as being too much of an issue given the trade-off it brings. So this guy is there to be a real hard hitter. One of the nice things as well is often in this deck you can play a healing card right after Beast of Fyra does its first attack, which means it can often make a it can heal up and do a second attack and still not die. Alright, next up, another one of the new cards, Vorax. This is amazing. I love this card because it's basically an area of effect damage card, or it can attack twice against a high health, low attack unit. So Vorax, I've used this a couple of times and it's been totally worth it. Next up is Ka Speeder. This is also a bit of an anti-stealth unit as well as a general area damage. Being a unit with flank and cleave, there's many ways you can use this. And again, this was one of the frustrating things before when you used to face 1000 Suns before the nerf, because often players would play this, they'd put a shield on it, and then they'd attack with it, and then even though it's attacked, it still got its full health, and it would be really irritating. And that's very easy to do. You don't need any special combinations of cards or anything to come up for that. But even without getting a shield, Ka Speeder is great, and I love using this guy. Okay, next up, Hidden One. So this is one of those cards for the Thousand Suns which was really not used before because it didn't generate any psychic energy. And again, when you're entirely focused on making as much psychic energy as possible because that's the most reliable way to win, a guy like this was dead weight. Well, now it's changed. You're mostly interested in your units and less the psychic energy. And Hidden One's precognition ability, which is there all the time, is great, because he becomes painful for your enemy to deal with. Unless he has a tactic which can kill it straight away, your enemy is going to be taking that 4 damage the next turn. So I actually like having both Hidden Ones in here. If I had the Thousand Suns Apothecary, I'd probably replace one Hidden One with the Apothecary, who fills a similar role. Next up is Issachar Orr. Even after his nerf, his rally ability is just way too good to pass up, and honestly you can throw a warp retreat onto him in the next turn, and hopefully play him again later the same game, so he's great. Next up is my latest legendary card, the Pyramid of Photep. I love this. The game is often quite balanced in that legions are given only those abilities which will not be overpowered compared to what else they have. On the other hand, if you manage to get a tactic from another legion, especially often their legendary tactics, it gives you something which would normally make your own legion very unbalanced. And so Pyramid of Photep is great. And there's very few tactics in the game which are totally useless, and so you're almost guaranteed to get something good each turn. And there's enough tactics in the game which are incredibly dangerous that your enemy will be trying to take Pyramid of Photep out as much as he can, as quickly as he can, but it's a real tough cookie with 8 health and ward. Alright, Chimu I talked about Ashen Blow and Astral Warfare, and lastly was Lernia Hydra. So in the earlier version of this deck, I actually used to have the Osiren Dreadnought here in the 8 energy slot, and then what I would discover is often after playing the Dreadnought, I was only playing 1 or maximum 2 Psychic Energies cards in the same turn. And yeah, that extra 1 pinging point of damage the Dreadnought was doing felt a bit underwhelming, and especially because often right after that the enemy will play a powerful tactic and win. Well, Lernia Hydra buys you some time against top tier tactics, and it's got better stats than the Osiren Dreadnought does, so it's a better I find over here as my big finisher. Okay, so that's my deck, and as you may notice, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from the new expansion, and I know many people won't have that yet. So I did have an earlier version of the deck which did not have those expansion cards in it. Let me see where I find that. I think it's this one here. So let's go and take a look at this one. Yeah, alright. So this was following a very similar principle. Now, a couple of the cards which I had swapped around were, I took out, I used to have Bessemet Squad, so these were the guys who I replaced with the Chaos Retreat, or Warp Retreat, whatever it's called. I had also replaced, I used to have 2 Rhinos, and those are what I replaced with the Varox, the new Mechanicum vehicles with Bloodthirst. And I believe, what did I take out for, oh, what did I take out in order to fit the, alright, I think I took out Ahriman's Cable, and I ended up putting in the Pyramid of Photep. If you don't have Pyramid of Photep, Ahriman's Cable is still a nice one to have in there. What it brings is decent stats, 6 health, 5 attack, as well as that little extra point of Psycho ability. But honestly, you can put in almost anything else in the 5 or 6 point energy range there. Like even Duke Mordecai might be a good one to put in there instead if you have him. Alright, so that's talking through the Thousand Suns deck which I had over here, and what I wanted to do was show you a couple of the matches which I won with him. So we're going to start with the best match, which was against, let's go down here and take a look. Yes, it was against Artellus Numion. I normally have a ton of trouble with Artellus Numion, and Edgewalker's a good player. You can actually see he's even ranked much about 100 points higher than me when this match happened. So let's take a look at how Magnus the Red, after the nerf, does against Numion. Okay, so let's take a look over here. So I started off, and I think I was pretty happy with these initial cards. Vorax will get played in obviously my third turn. Pi Alpha 52 is a great card for my second turn, so I felt good. So we're going to hit done and go on with this. Pyramid of Photep. Oh yeah, nice. I just went and attacked him straight on. As Magnus, it's often okay to attack straight on because it helps trigger your Whisper. Alright, he decided to go for me instead of putting Survivor on his front line. I think that was a bit of a mistake, but whatever. Now I attack his front line unit, and I play my little healing card on me. There we go. And I picked up again. So I started off at 10 points of health ahead of him. Now I'm 11 points of health ahead. Oh no. Jubak's dangerous. I've got so many powerful cards. I don't want him getting a bunch of them. So let's take out Jubak as soon as possible. There we go. And attack twice. Boom. Everyone's dead. I'm still 11 points ahead of him on health. Oh, that's not good. A training cage. He's going to start throwing out super buff dudes next. Okay, so what can I do here? Let's get that pyramid going. It's a good time to put the pyramid because he's got nothing on the board which can immediately act to kill it. And because it's got ward, there's very few ways to kill it straight up. Okay, there's those buff dudes showing up now. Like, he actually has enough ability there. He can kill the pyramid next turn. What's the pyramid giving me? A bionic eye. Okay, that's cool. Healing is always great. The Meketra Cabal will protect the pyramid for a turn, while I can use Witchfire to try to wipe out that strong unit. There we go. 5 points of damage. And then let's try to start chipping away at his little dude. What is that guy called again? Roshan squad. Yeah, when they die while attacking, I take 3 points of damage. Oh, here's another buffed up dude. A 5/6 Skitari protector. Well, that looks nasty. Okay, now we've got hope. Interesting. And by pinging with damage, well, look at that. I'm getting very close to triggering my Whisper now. Issachar Ore will protect me from direct attack, which is perfect. And now I can give my guys hope so I can draw a card whenever they die. And let's just keep pressure on that Roshan squad. I've got over 6 energies. So any turn I like, if I get the Astral Warfare card, I can play it because at the beginning of the turn I'll get a bonus 2 energy and I need 8 energy for Astral Warfare. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself still. Mercy and Forgiveness. Beautiful. That's what I want. That makes this guy super overpowered. It makes almost any Warlord super overpowered. I attack the Skitari and I take out the Roshan squad before he does his 3 damage to me. Unfortunately, in order to destroy the Skitari, I kind of have to lose everyone, which is a shame, but at least my hope card triggers and I'm drawing stuff. Let's put down a Beast of Fire to keep him worried. And my Pyramid of Photop has taken no damage at all yet. Holy moly, look at that. Oh my god, a 5'9", 5'10" mortar carrier. Wowza. Okay. What can I do here? Okay, he's starting to hit the pyramid. It's gonna die soon at this rate. Oh, nice. A Meketra Cabal has popped up. Okay, so we're gonna hit. Okay, we took that. Actually, I made a mistake. I should have used it to attack another one of his squads. Ugh. Alright, anyhow. This buys me a tiny bit of time. Unreliable attacks. At least I can do it twice because I've got Mercy and Forgiveness. Okay, so he can finish off my pyramid quite easily now. Ooh, buffed units. There we go. Is the pyramid gonna die? Yeah, bye-bye pyramid. Okay, healing. Ugh. Okay, we're very close on health. In fact, with his survivor, he's actually got more health than me. Okay. I cannot play Astral Warfare right now, but I can protect myself with Meketra Cabal. And I can heal myself with Chimu over there. Okay, that's good. Things are looking a bit better. I'm not using my Psychic Energy because I'm saving up for Astral Warfare now. It looks like I'm going to need that. He stripped off the protective barriers on my Psychic barriers, and now he's going in to wipe them out, and he's going to hit me very hard. Yep, 1. And 2. Painful. 6 health left. And a Skitarii Protector goes down, of course. However, he may have made a big mistake, because by attacking me, I can trigger my Whisper of Chaos and turn into the Shards of Magnus. And because I've got Mercy and Forgiveness, I can use my ability twice a turn. There we go. Yes, are you seeking to humble me? He puts down a unit with front line and he gives it extra protection. That's cool. Okay, what can I do with my energy there? Yep, so I drop a Hydra. And I just use my little ability there. Start trying to weaken that front line a bit. So he attacks me and he gives himself Survivor, I think. Yeah, his defense satellite costs extra because of the Hydra out there. Yep, there's that Survivor. 2 Astral Warfares and no energy to use them. Oy, oy, oy. Okay, gotta take care of that frontline unit. So it's a little bit of overkill, but I'm gonna hit it with my Hydra. Yeah, there we go. And another mortar comes down. He attacks me to strip my shield off, and he hopes the mortar will hit it. But it's over now. Like, he's got no front lines. I can hit him for 9 and hit him again. Actually, I've got many ways to kill him here. Let's use the Chi move to establish a bit of dominance here. Yeah, he knows what's coming next, and it's over. Okay, so that was the win against Artillus Numion. The next one I'm going to show you is a win against Angron, because everyone faces lots of Angrons, so let's see how Magnus does against Angron after the nerf. Hint, he wins. Okay, I don't want Witchfire. I'm going to keep Ashen Blow as one of my starting cards. I want to build up enough Psychic Energy to play it as soon as possible, because I need to have that in reserve in case Argus Brawn comes out. So he comes and hits me. Ouch. And I'm just going to sit there quietly and take that. I don't really want to be throwing myself into Angron. Yes, would be nice to get hit 15 times, take damage 15 times to trigger my Whisper, but taking damage against Angron is not something you want to do.
I'm impressed, but not surprised.
So I skip my turn and he just goes and hits me again. And unsurprisingly, he brings out Speeders and hits me hard again. Okay, we're coming up to the 3 energy turn. I don't have anything to play, and I still don't have anything to play, so I am just going to, I think, pass on that turn. He's 11 points of health ahead of me. More than that now. He's 13 points of health ahead of me. He's got a really comfortable situation at this point, but this is where I start turning things around. Everyone gets nervous when the Beast of Fyra gets dropped. So we've got the Beast over there. He brings out Gorechild and attacks me directly. He probably should have gone for the Beast. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, perhaps I can see why he did it. Let's take a look. Okay, so the Beast goes and destroys itself. And then, yep, I can just use my remaining energy to heal myself. With the maintenance from the Beast, my options were quite limited. Okay, so he destroys my healer, and then he uses the mortar to strike. Alright, what's up next? Izakir ore. This gives me and Izakir a ton of protection, so this is good. Alright. Defense satellites come and hit me now. Ah, that's a shame now. Izakir cannot attack without dying. And my healing is much more important to use for me. Okay, I've got a warp retreat ready. That's actually going to be kind of handy. There we go. Let's heal up a little. And then use my ability there. So I'm really now charging ahead of him on health, which is a good place to be. But he flipped that right round again. And now he's got almost as much health as I do. Whacking me hard. We're even on health. Okay, bunch of options over here. I'm gonna heal myself with the Chimu. I mean, it's a very dangerous healing unit, right? It does 5 damage as well, and I can use Warp Retreat to pull that Pi Alpha back into my hand. Let's just keep the pressure going. I've got another Chimu ready for healing too, so that's a really good position to be in. Fires a mortar. It hits me, of course. And he follows that up with another big hit, so now I am on 11 health. Oh no, look at that. Ah, hello, Vorax. Normally I would have used Ashen Blow to take care of Rond, but Vorax is also a valid cure for Rond. Look at that, boom. And use a bit of Psychic Energy to finish that guy off. There we are. Let's bring in a hidden one next. Keep this pressure going. He could still win here if he has the right cards. 3 damage to me and to him. Ooh, he does another volcanic instability. 3 damage to everything. So he's basically wiping the board. And then he's attacking me, but he's only got 2 energy left. 2 health left rather. And this is, with 2 health left, that's comfortable for Astral Warfare to finish him off because that does a minimum of 2 damage. There we go, there's a win against Angron with Magnus. And maybe the last one I want to show over here is a fight against Perturabo. So let's go and hit play over here. Actually, before I do this, so this Perturabo player I played against, Adriana, they messaged me after the game. So they were doing a challenge. They had one of those all tactics Perturabo decks. Adriana is a relatively newer player as well, and they have a Twitch channel. So you can, I'm just showing you the address for the Twitch channel here. It's twitch.tv/YolandAscorn. So if you want to see a relatively newer player playing on Twitch, you can head over there and take a look whenever they're next streaming. Alright, well, even if they're not streaming, actually they've got recorded videos there too. Alright, anyhow, let's take a look at this fight and see how we do against an all tactics deck. So I was actually pretty happy with this starting hand because I've got the cards I need to play Meketra Cabal, potentially pull them back in again with Warped Retreat, or hopefully use it on a healer instead. So I felt good and I went with this. So I started with the initiative. I didn't want to use a psychic attack straight away. I'm trying to save up psychic energy to try to deal with any Taranthikos veterans who might pop up. Now is a good time to just throw out the Meketra Cabal. He doesn't have anything I need the front lines to protect against, but I'm hoping to try to get him to waste an ability like this on killing them. I mean, Precision Bombardment's rarely wasted, but it goes into his deck at least. Hopefully it doesn't pop out right away. Okay, there's those 2 points of damage for killing me, hurting me, but that's fine. I'm getting closer and closer to triggering my Whisper. Abandoned supplies is all I can do right now. Ooh, that's useful. Beast of Fire pops out. Nice. he's got to use his... He knows he has to use his ability now to kill the beast, but that's fine. The beast took those 6 points of damage, which would have come from me otherwise. And now that it's dead, I don't have to worry about maintenance costs. Which also means I can play Hidden One now. I was worried about playing Hidden One while his siege ability was charged, because he could just use his siege ability to kill the Hidden One. But there we are. Okay. Oh, he sabotages it. That's a little bit of a waste, because honestly that precognition is not a fantastic ability, but whatever. There we go. He hits him, and now I drop Chi Mu in a moment to heal myself and heal my Hidden One. There we are. Nice. Okay. I've got a 7-point health lead over him, which means I can take 1 direct hit from his Perturabo Cannon. Speaking of the Perturabo Cannon, bye-bye Chi Mu. And an artillery strike, okay. Boom. Okay, 8 more hits and I can trigger my Whisper. Let's give him another Hidden One. And now I've got 8 energy. I've got enough to be able to comfortably trigger my most powerful psychic powers. I can start using my psychic energy for Magnus to attack him directly.
It's time for decimation.
Okay, what's he got up his sleeve? Oh, viral bombs. Yeah, that finishes off. It's better to use the viral bomb and take the 4 points of damage than the 8 points my 2 guys would have been doing from hitting him and dying. Okay, I've got Astral Warfare, but now let's play the Lernia Hydra to mess with tactics over there. Yeah, 2 points of psychic energy for just 1 point of damage. Feels like such a waste. Okay, he's reloading his gun. Terror tactics. Alright. Oh, I think I can win here now if my psychic energy works out nicely. Or even without it, sorry. Yeah, there we are. Ankto to actually damage him. And then let's finish him off with some Witchfire. Guaranteed minimum 2 points of damage. Boom. Alright. You know what? As one final bonus, I'll share with you the latest win I had, which is against Nemetor. So Nemetor is not the strongest Warlord, but it's still an interesting fight. Let's take a look at how this one goes. So I start with the initiative. Chi Mu's cost a little too much to play early, so I go with replacing that. Get a Pi Alpha, which I'm a bit happier with. Ooh, an Ankto, that's even greater as well. Let's go ahead and attack him. I've got Pi Alpha in my hand there, so I can just heal up with it afterwards. Oh god, I take 4 points of damage if I attack him, but I also take 4 points of damage if I attack his dude. Let's start cutting down his dude. At least with Extra Tresta, I've got options to heal myself. Okay, now it's time for Vorax to come out, I think. This is the perfect scene for Vorax, because look at this. Nemetor has not used his abilities, so Vorax will not take bonus damage while attacking. So I play him, I wipe out his little first tank, and then I can wipe out his second tank, and I'm still alive, so he's got to deal with that next turn. Another frontline. Oh, this is a Nemetor frontline deck. I see what he's doing. Okay. 5 energy over here. Let's do an Abandoned Supplies and probably a Medic, I think. Yeah, Pi Alpha next. Ooh, nope. The Cast Speeder is even better here, because I can use it to attack his front line while doing side damage to him. And then I can just attack him directly. That leaves no energy to use Ekratres, but oh well. Yee. Oi, oi, oi. Look at that thing. Okay, I do have an Astral Warfare in hand, but I'm going to go and attack him directly, and I'm going to cut him down to, yeah, triggered his Survivor, but I've left nothing on the board which he can attack and kill and die while attacking, so his sacrifice won't trigger. It's a very deliberate move over there. Now next turn I can Astral Warfare him. Oh, definitely have to Astral Warfare him. And even if he survives, I can use my Magnus ability to kill him. Oh no, he's definitely going to die from Astral Warfare now. Okay, here we go. Astral Warfare to wipe his board. Perfect board wipe, nice. And then a Beast of Fire to worry him. And heal myself up a little there too. 20-point health lead over him. I like the way this is going. Okay, so Goose Listener then plays a frontline unit. That's clever. And he also plays Roshan Squad, who I hate so much. He also triggers Nemetor's abilities. Now I'm going to take a punishing amounts of damage while attacking. But it must be done. Let's get rid of his unit there. And yeah, everything gets wiped out. I still have a 16-point health lead over him. With Meketra Cabal out there, I've got a bit of protection against, well, nothing at all. Ugh. Okay, that could have gone a lot worse for me. At least I got no Ogrins. Let's see how I can deal with this stuff. Now, I should have really used Ankh Tau on the Catechins and just guaranteed wiping them out, but I decided that, you know what, I'll try and be clever and use Psychic Energy, and of course, only did 1 point of damage. So now I've got to waste Ankh Tau anyway, getting rid of those guys, which is kind of frustrating, but okay, whatever. Okay, I'm getting close to my Whisper of Chaos. Let's heal myself up a little more and use Warp Retreat to throw those guys back into my deck one more time. And yeah, there we go. Can't play any more cards, so that's fine. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good at all. Look at those bunkers. 3-7 front lines, and there's 2 of them. Youch. Okay, let's start clearing some of this out. We'll use Ankh Tau to get rid of the guys who can actually attack, because at least the bunkers can't attack me directly. Ooh, nice. I can use a hidden one over there and try to weaken the last guy. I'm saving my Ashen Blow for something nasty with Survivor in case it pops up. Yeah, that guy's pretty nasty. Let's see how I can try and handle this. At least, oh, well, with Issachar Ore, I can stop that Epistolary from attacking, so that'll work out for me. Okay, let's bring in the Beast and Issachar. So now the Beast's invulnerable to attack, and will stick around for the next turn. Let's finish that little dude off. I forgot about Nemetor's ability. Bye bye, Hidden One. It's nice knowing you. Oh my god, more front lines. Dear lordy. Okay. That's a very convenient Astral Warfare. This looks like the perfect time to play it. Boom. Nice. Shame the bunker didn't die, but okay, I'll hit the bunker and I'll accept the hits from Nemetor. I can use the Beast to finish off the Epistolary and then let the Beast die by throwing it into him. And lastly, we'll just attack. This is over and Goose Listener knows it. There we go. Suicide attack into me and it's over. Alright, so hopefully you guys now have a bit of a sense of how the Thousand Suns are different, but they're not, like a lot of people claim they're useless now. They're not. They're useless if you try to stick to the old way of playing them. It's almost impossible to make a Thousand Suns deck which is focused primarily around winning through Psychic Energy. Instead, you've now got to be a bit more flexible. You've got to think about how to win with units on the board supported by Psychic Energy instead. So just going to round off this video by showing my little Magnus deck. As I said, it's... Wait, is this the... Whoop, this is the different one to before. Let's go back to my original Magnus deck. It was the Magnus Ascended deck. Okay, yeah, here we are. Alright. So, 11 tactics, 19 troops, most of the troops generate very small amounts of psychic power. My main way of building psychic energy in order to use my abilities is to just start saving up from the beginning of the game, right? If I'm facing a Warlord who's going to have lots of units on the board, I'll try to save up to the point where I know I can get 8 psychic energy at the beginning of my turn and use that to feed Astral Warfare when it comes up. If I'm up against someone like Khorne, where I know that he's likely to only have like someone like Angron, where I know he's only likely to have 1 or 2 really powerful, really nasty units, then my priority is to save up until I have 6 psychic energy and I can use Ashen Blow. And then after that point, I'll just start using my psychic energy every turn to try to inflict damage and hope I get one of those 3 damage pings out of Magnus instead. I think that this general concept will work pretty well for Ahriman as well. In fact, Ahriman has the advantage of being able to pick powerful units and then play precognition on them to protect them from harm as well. The only Thousand Sons Warlord who I think right now is real junk is Phocis Takar. So ignore him for now. Focus on Ahriman and Magnus the Red if you want to keep playing as Thousand Sons. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to me and you'll get notified whenever the next videos go up. I'm not sure if I'll do a video from this event run, but I do plan to do a lot more Magnus play on the ladder, and that will hopefully be going on later this week. Alright, until then, bye guys.